The wait is officially over, and game day comes back to AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys kick off their 2019 season against a familiar foe. Since 1960, Cowboys-Giants has been a matchup you can't miss. With a rivalry that has aged well through the years, a new chapter will be written today. And the quest for 6 begins now. Let's start this season off right now on Pregame Live.
The Dallas Cowboys pregame show, live from the Star in Frisco, is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. Academy, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Welcome into a brand new 2019 season, a brand new slate of America's favorite pregame show, right, Brian?
Absolutely.
Pregame Live with the Dallas Cowboys here. I'm Lindsay Draper. Brian Broaddus, my favorite guy to be with here on game days, and boy, do we have a show for you. And this whole day already has gotten off to an insane start with the noon games.
Well, it's crazy because what you're dealing with is the unknown, and that's what's happening right now in the National Football League. A lot of unknowns with the preseason the way it goes. That's what these coaches and staffs are having to deal with.
It is crazy. Cowboys and Giants, always going to be a good matchup, division matchup. This is the new tradition to start off at AT&T Stadium. Here's what we got coming up on the show. We're going to go out there and hear from our friends at DallasCowboys.com. We'll talk about Dak Prescott. We're hearing his contract may be near. Is that true? Is that a rumor? And also some surprise inactives for you. But Brian, let's just kick it off right now with what you've been studying all week. I know we're kind of leaning towards a Cowboys win today, but it might not be easy with Saquon Barkley out there.
No, it's not going to be easy, Lens. And, but player for player, the Dallas Cowboys are a better team than what the New York Giants are. And, even you talk to the people at the Giants, they will tell you that. They understand that their roster is not as deep as what the Cowboys is. And a bigger unknown, though, for them as well is the fact is they have not seen Kellen Moore call a game in the National Football League. They've seen him call preseason games. They haven't seen the full package of things that he could do. He's got a lot of weapons out there that he could use. So, yeah, Saquon Barkley, huge player for the New York Giants today. Dallas Cowboys early season game have to tackle very well in this game to get off to a good start to keep him under wraps.
Let's get right into it, Brian. Obviously, the big news of the week was that the Cowboys got the deal done with Ezekiel Elliott, 6-year extension, $90 million, and Jerry Jones said he's had this date circled on the calendar. It's almost like there was never a doubt that he'd be out here for Week 1.
Yeah, well, that it was getting close.
It was as close as you could get.
Yeah, you and I live at the Star, and when you come to work every day, you were kind of thinking, okay, is this going to be the day? And it was a really unusual negotiation. You're talking to a guy here that has been in the league since 1992, and it just seemed every day there was something different. Some good, some bad, and there's a lot of times where I was just saying, hey, if we could just get both guys in the room, being Ezekiel and Stephen Jones in the room, we could probably get this thing done. And eventually they were all able to come together, like you said, Linz, right before the season started here, right before he needed to be on the field at practice. But yeah, I thought it was very close. I thought it was very close to him. He was dug in on wanting this extension, and he got it.
All right, let's hear from Ezekiel Elliott as soon as he stepped foot into the building here at the Star this week.
Just going out there and seeing how you feel, going out there and seeing how your body feels and just being smart.
Did the experience in 2017 when you had to be away for 6 weeks help at all or do anything?
I think it was a little bit different, just because I got to start the season and, I got to get in the groove of things so, I think it was a little bit different with that.
Do you feel like you can have as many touches as they give you, that you'll be conditioned enough to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you go into some detail about what you did with Marshall and the other people down there working you out in preparation for your return?
Just a lot of metabolic work, like game simulation, just simulating like running the play, getting back to the huddle, 2-minute drill, and so just trying to simulate training camp as much as I could.
You mentioned the support of the teammates. How did they support? What did they do to show you that support? Just calls, texts, whatever?
Calls, texts. One of my teammates told me, don't come back without a deal. Just support like that from this group of guys it meant everything. And, it definitely would have been harder if things were the opposite.
Was it important for you to be the highest paid running back in football?
It was.
Why?
Because I believe I'm the best.
Who would you give credit to kind of pushing the deal over the goal line? We heard last night it kind of stalled, then this morning it got done. Who would you credit the most with getting the deal done?
I would credit, both my representation and the Joneses just for deciding, that they wanted me in here.
All right, Zeke is all business, Brian. When you think about his workload today, that's obviously the big thing everyone's been talking about, 20 to 25 carries. But when you look back at the past 3 seasons, he's almost kind of got that amount anyways, if not less, in the first week.
Yeah, it is. It's been one of those things when, he hasn't played a lot in any preseason games. So that's the thing. But they're very mindful. They've got a lot of players, Linz, that they have to think about in this game that did not get training camp practice or get any kind of reps. The Cowboys are one of the few teams that did put their starters out there to get some work. But with Elliott, it was very clear early in the week, talking to some folks here at the Star, that it was going to be 20 or 25 snaps. And this is where I think that the Giants may take advantage of the Cowboys. And because if they can't get some pressure with the rush and Ezekiel Elliott is not on the field, blitz pickup becomes paramount for the Cowboys. So he's such a fine blitz pickup guy, but if he's not on the field when they're trying to throw the ball, though, that's a disadvantage for the Dallas Cowboys right there.
I heard you talk about it all week long, Brian. The inexperienced Tony Pollard or Jameis Olawale may have to step in and do that, and they're nowhere near what Zeke.
No, and that's a problem. If the Giants will admit to you that they struggle rushing the passer. They don't have the Michael Strahans, the Jason Pierre-Pauls, the guys like that they've had in the past to rush the passer. Ezekiel Elliott is a complete back for a reason, because when he's on the field, not only does he run, catch the ball well, but blitz pickup. If he's off the field, look for the Giants to try and take advantage of him. And if he's only playing 20 or 25 snaps total, that might be a problem for the Cowboys.
Yeah, we're not talking carries here. We're talking snaps.
Just snaps, just straight snaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could be interesting, something to keep an eye on with the running back conversation. Another thing with breaking news today that Byron Jones, Brian, is not going to get the start, but what a great place it is to be in to know you don't have to rush your Pro Bowl corner out there.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right about that, Linz, because the strength of this team, in my opinion, on defense is starting to become the cornerbacks. And, we can talk about the linebackers and the rotation they have at defensive line, but these cornerbacks have done a great job. Brown, Awuzie, Lewis, all through the preseason, all through training camp, these guys stepped up. There was really no big sense of urgency to get Byron Jones into the mix. And when they practiced this week, Byron Jones, he was out there healthy, taking reps, but it was Anthony Brown that was starting at right corner with Awuzie on the left side. Now, the Giants have some situations where they'll get into some multiple wide receiver packages. They might even with Evan Ingram, the tight end, very talented tight end that plays down the field. Keep an eye on maybe Byron Jones walking over and taking some reps if they go into a dime look. But he'll be available to go. But it's just Brown and those guys have done such a nice job. There was no sense of urgency to have to push him.
I know you said the safeties were also a hot commodity at training camp. They were your MVPs as well. So this whole secondary now with Chris Richard, we're actually seeing things come into motion with big changes. Big
changes, and the coach, the players have bought in, Linz. They really have. These corners. They saw what happened last year with Byron Jones. Chris Richard comes in, Byron Jones, the next thing you know, he's a Pro Bowl cornerback. And Byron Jones will even tell you he saved his career by doing this. So, yeah, it's a thing that these defensive backs have all bought in. Let's see if they could get the turnovers now. They got a lot of turnovers caused turnovers, forced turnovers in the during the preseason, got their hands on a lot of balls during practice, made it very difficult for Dak Prescott at times to throw the football. So let's see if they're up to the task. I think they will be today.
Brian, we've got not only a surprise inactive, but a surprise guy who is up and ready to play today on the roster. Let's take a look at who's out and who's in, and I'll let you just take it away with the bottom two names here.
Well, if you look at the top three names, Thompson, Wilson, and Gifford are all injured. So everyone else below that line is a healthy scratch. And so it came down to they didn't need Adam Redmond there. It involved at the center guard combination. They're kind of covered there with Suafilo as well, and then also with Joe Looney. Brandon Knight's one of the guys that's been a young guy that's kind of made some progress throughout. But Tristan Hill and Taco Charlton are the two guys. Taco has been playing better. They went with Joe Jackson as an active guy. You don't see him on the list because Joe Jackson can play both as a defensive end and as a defensive tackle. They also have Kerry Hyder and then Dorrance Armstrong. So their rotation, they're thinking, hey, we've got to protect our ends, the right end Crawford, the left end Lawrence, and think about the rotation with them, and then also think about what we could do in the middle of that defense at the defensive tackle. Hyder could play as an under tackle, and Jackson could play there as well. So they're going to protect themselves and go that route.
Brian, how much information can you give us on what you think is going on with Taco Charlton?
Well, I don't know if it's so much if it's him. I think that the expectations for Taco Charlton has been very large. And, everybody's talked about, Rod Marinelli, these young guys, they come in, Rod Marinelli's able to develop them and all that. We've seen some guys come in and do that and actually develop. But Taco was never a guy that was going to be a dynamic pass rusher. That just was not his game. If you watched him at Michigan, he played at left defensive end. You ask Jason Garrett will tell you his best position is left defensive end. So, yeah, you've got DeMarcus Lawrence over there rushing from that left side. But Taco has just never been able to find footing. He hasn't been healthy enough. At times, his attitude has been really poor, but there were some things in preseason that clicked for him. He played better in a couple of games, but this is just right now the coaches having more confidence in Kerry Hyder and Dorrance Armstrong than him.
All right, that's what it is right there for Brian Broaddus. I want to talk about QB1, Dak Prescott. He's right here. You can get these cups at 7-Eleven and Stripes, by the way. Brian, you got yours too?
Got mine ready to roll.
All right, we are set. These are the cups of the day here, 7-Eleven and Stripes. Let's talk about Dak Prescott. Can't believe we haven't even yet because there's been so much else to talk about. Entering year 4, Brian, we have extremely high expectations for this guy.
Yeah, and I think that the staff has very high expectations for him. And, you look at where things have gone for him, and, he's one of those guys has lined up and played down after down. We've seen games where he's had to show extreme toughness in the way he's played. And so he's been able to lead them back in some games that, looked like that maybe they were a little bit out of control, out of hand, but he's been able to fight through. That just tells you all you need to know about Dak Prescott. Now it's about, okay, can Dak Prescott throw from the pocket? Can Dak Prescott make accurate throws from the pocket? And can he read the field and see all the things? In the 4th year, you would think that, yes, all these things are going to be for Dak Prescott ahead of him. Anticipation, ball placement. I think with the addition of what we've seen with John Kitna and also Kellen Moore now as the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore is going to put him in those situations. John Kitna, on the other hand, has worked on the mechanics. I think you'll see it today, Linz, with him standing there and delivering that football.
Not only has he taken that initiative with his mechanics, Brian, but you've seen it with the building camaraderie, how he took the receivers out before training camp started out to California to stay at a hotel, put in extra work. Those little things matter, and I think that just shows how serious he is. He knows he's about to get paid, and he knows he's going to be here for a while. He's doing literally everything he possibly can.
Well, you're right, though. That's what we saw with Prescott. And again, the vantage point that we have outside our windows here at the Star is you could see who's on the practice field behind you, and it was clear every single day. Those hot, tough days when nobody was looking except the staff here on DallasCowboys.com. We were watching him throw the ball, and his teammates were buying in as well. They were here working with him. We kind of saw Jason Witten. Here's a veteran, 15, 16 years, all of a sudden he's on the field working with him as well. So it was important for his teammates to be there. It was important for Dak Prescott to get everybody together. And we'll see if the work has paid off. It was a tough training camp for him, Linz, because of how competitive this defense and this secondary was for him.
Just to show kind of what Brian was talking about with the guys working out on the field, I'm just going to share this story. I think you were here with me as well during the summer. There was a time where DeMarcus Lawrence was recovering from surgery. He was actually down in the center position, snapping the ball to Dak,
right,
and then turning around and rushing him, trying to simulate the pass rush. And there was one other receiver out there working with him as well. But it was just a really cool moment. DeMarcus Lawrence taking huge initiative this year as well, Brian.
Well, the contract will do that to you. You know, he realized, and this is what I love about DeMarcus Lawrence is the fact that he got paid. And, you know, he fought very hard for every dollar he got in that contract. But you know what? He's worth that. You talk about a guy that can play that left end, play the run, you know, make things difficult for teams. A lot of teams are right-handed the way they run the football. He was able to be a point of attack player there, kind of get things back inside of those linebackers. But the pass rush, you know, he's got a situation today with Reimers, the tackle for the Giants. They've upgraded their tackle spot over there, so it's going to be a little bit better matchup for him over there. But here's a guy that it's all about the pass rush moves. It's all about the technique, not a one-trick pony. He's going to give everything he has to get to that quarterback. Eli Manning knows where he's going to be on that field, and he can affect the way that Eli Manning passes the ball today.
All right, Brian, let's hear from the leader of the Hot Boys, DeMarcus Lawrence.
My main focus is studying ourselves, making sure we're fundamentally great on defense and setting edges and, you know, hitting as a defense. So we really don't try to focus on the opponent, just focus on our craft and greatness. What they want from me is, you know, domination. So I try to live up to that standard each and every day, and just understanding the game, knowing that it's a chess match. You give them something just to take it away from them. So you basically playing mind games with them, and it's for 4 quarters straight. And fatigue make a counter out of anybody. So it's all about, you know, being physically in shape and making sure you know your craft. Every time I get an opportunity to rush the passer, once you see that tackle's foot kick back, you're supposed to know that that's $1 million waiting right there in that pocket. So, I mean, if you greedy like me, I know it's a sin to be greedy, but, you know, if God bless you with the ability, you know, to be greedy, why not be great at it? So, try to go and get that $1 million every time that quarterback steps back in that pocket. But it's all about, you know, like I said earlier, us focusing on our craft and, you know, maintaining that throughout the whole season. It's a tough season. Everybody's good, but, you know, once you earn your keys and once you earn your assignment and you love to hit, we destined for greatness. So we start Barkley on the way to Eli. Somebody gets the ball, they gotta lay down. That's it.
It's a sin to be greedy, Brian. That's my quote of the day. I carry that one with me.
That needs to be a T-shirt for sure.
It does.
Yeah.
He missed some time this offseason, along with another long list of players I want to get into that are coming off of some sort of injury or way that they had to sit out this season, Brian. The names go on and on. Obviously, DeMarcus Lawrence and Ezekiel Elliott are the notable ones, but names like Amari Cooper, they're just expected to get out there and do their thing, and they haven't been playing in a long time.
Well, the thing about Lawrence that you have to like is that him and Crawford came back after when we got back from Oxnard. So they were starting to practice a little bit early. Zach Martin, he worked back last week. Amari Cooper worked back. Byron Jones working back as well. Tyron Smith, he was available all last week too. So, yeah, it's, you know, the medical staff does a great job here of evaluating the players and then timing out the injury to make sure that that doesn't repeat itself. You know, it happens in the game. So all those guys, Linz, again, this will be their first game action, but we will see. They have been practicing. They've looked good from what I've seen watching the practices, and so that's a positive right now. The game conditioning will be important. Fortunately for the Cowboys, this game will be played indoors. So, yeah, if this game was, say, played in Miami or Jacksonville or Tampa or one of these, it could have been very, very difficult for them with the conditioning, but we should be okay here.
Yeah, we're still in the hundreds down here in Texas for all of you watching. Anyone who doesn't know, of course, the Cowboys defense and the Giants defense might have been preparing a little bit similarly this week with Saquon Barkley and Ezekiel Elliott. I want to bring in Danny Sarek from DallasCowboys.com, who spends a ton of time in the locker room and covering this team. Danny, what have you heard about how the defense is planning to handle Saquon Barkley?
Well, Lindsay, the Dallas Cowboys know that they are facing one of the most productive running backs in the league in Saquon Barkley. The 2018 Offensive Rookie of the Year rushed for more than 1,300 yards his rookie season. The first time Barkley faced the Cowboys in Week 2 of 2018, he was held to just 28 rushing yards, the fewest of the year for him. However, in Week 16, Barkley rushed for more than 100 yards and a touchdown. Defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli says he noticed that change in Barkley last year and is expecting him to be even better in year 2.
I thought against us, as I saw him, his vision was really good. He's got great vision, but the decisiveness, when it's there, him to take it. In space, it's always tough. I mean, he's been tough all year in space, so you got to really work as a defense.
I feel like he's going to improve just like every one of us is going to improve, and so it gets difficult. But I feel like I got full confidence in our game plan, and I know what we're capable of.
It's like Barry Sanders when we used to play him. They're very similar. You may have a lot of plays, you keep them, minimal, 5 yards here, whatever, and then the ability to break the long one. And you got to be on top of the details the entire game. We got to be disciplined. Guys got to do their job before they release blocks.
I think we got to get vertical upfield penetration, which is what this system calls for, specifically for myself, and make him cut before he's ready to cut in the backfield.
We pride ourselves on stopping the run and being physical and sprinting to the ball every single play. So, we understand our identity. We just got to go out there and prove it each and every week. So that's the goal. Super excited. The preseason goes and it goes, and you get to a point where you're ready to rock. So it's week 1 and it's here. So we have to step up to the plate for sure.
Marinelli says the Dallas Cowboys defense knows that Barkley is special and that the Giants will use him as both a runner and a receiver. Marinelli says that he is reminding his players to just focus on this game one snap at a time and to excel at each of those snaps. Marinelli says the Cowboys defense #1 priority today, stop the run.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is.
With a guy like this.
It is. And this is the difficult thing that you have to deal with when you play a guy like this, because I back in the day when I was a personnel guy with the Green Bay Packers, we had to deal with a guy named Barry Sanders. And Barry Sanders
was a heck of a comparison.
Yeah, and it was, again, it's 1 yard, 3 yards, 4 yards, 87 yards. You held your breath every time he got the football. He's that special of a player.
I mean, he's the beginning of his career. I mean, This is kind of like when you saw in 2016 with Ezekiel Elliott. It's the same with Saquon.
Well, yeah, this is the Big Ten guy right here. The toughness, the body control, the balance, all these things. And Danny was talking about it. He is an outstanding receiver out of the backfield. And he can break you down in space. If you're not committed to going after him and making the tackle one-on-one, he will embarrass you. Cowboys are fortunate, though, they have some linebackers that can really tackle well. It's going to be on Jalen Smith today. It's going to be on Leighton Vander Esch. It's going to be on Sean Lee. Those three have got to play outstanding in this football game to control him.
Outstanding stuff from Danny Sarek. We're going to bring her back on the show for more later, but for now, let's go out to AT&T Stadium, where I've seen they've put out rally towels. It is going to get rowdy. Let's catch up with our friends Nick Eatman, Rob Phillips. Guys, what is up?
Thank you, Lindsay. Greetings from the sideline. Roof and doors shut today. Fans filing in. There's a buzz to the stadium, even though the game hadn't kicked off for a little bit yet. Zeke Elliott, the Zeke watch for 6 weeks, and that's over. It's nice to finally be talking about football today, right?
Yeah, it's definitely over as far as is he going to be here. And there's still going to be a lot of people watching him because he's Zeke, and he's the guy that, in my opinion, is the best running back in the NFL and the best player on this team. And so we'll see how many carries he gets. Is it going to be different? Is Pollard going to get more? I don't know. I still think we can talk about pitch count all you want to, but if that guy's got a no-hitter going, he's still going to be in the game. So we'll see how he's doing in the game.
Watched him go through his normal warm-up with Associate Athletic Trainer Britt Brown. Looked good throughout the week. We'll see what happens there. Okay, aside from Zeke, give me somebody that you're watching with this matchup, Cowboys-Giants.
You know, I'm sure it's already been talked about there, but Byron Jones is a guy that, you know, just from an injury standpoint, there was some talk about him not being able to be, have 100% of the snaps. We'll see about that. He's been dealing with a hip injury, missed all the preseason. He's got to cover these guys. No Odell Beckham this year. I mean, that's obviously a good thing. Not to say that the Giants don't have some guys that can hurt you, but nothing like him. I think Byron Jones is my guy. What about you?
I'll flip it around to the wide receiver position on offense for the Cowboys and Michael Gallup. He, without Amari Cooper for like the last month of practice, pretty dominant and looked good in the preseason games. He looks like he's primed to take a step forward, much like maybe Byron Jones did last year as well. And it's a young Giants secondary he's going up against. DeAndre Baker, the rookie. If the Giants respect Amari Cooper and maybe give some extra attention there's an opportunity for Gallup to make some plays down the field.
Gallup and Amari Cooper and Cobb, they probably all loving the fact that Zeke is back, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Another thing about we were talking about the defensive side of the ball and the inactives. They mentioned the inactives. How many teams in the league have a first and second round pick that are inactive? You could say all you want to, well, those guys need to play better, and they do. I think this speaks volumes for what kind of team the Cowboys have from a depth standpoint. Tristan Hill, Taco Charlton, not good enough to be on the field right now. And so I think the Cowboys have a very good team. It's hard to make the 53. It's even harder to make that 46.
We talked about all camp long how tough it was going to be to cut down that defensive line. I think having those two guys inactive speaks probably well to how DeMarcus Lawrence and Tyrone Crawford have progressed coming off of injury too.
Yeah, definitely that, and then Joe Jackson, the athletic ability, he'll probably play some special teams. If any of the defensive ends can run down there and do it, I would think Joe Jackson can. So it'll be interesting to see how that rotation goes.
Getting after Eli Manning for many, many years, always the priority. We'll see what happens there. Back to Lindsay and the crew.
Thank you guys so much, leading us in perfectly. We're going to catch up with them in a minute. Hopefully Stephen Jones feels like talking to us today.
Yeah.
Eli Manning, is this the last time the Cowboys are going to see him? Him and Jason Witten both have been facing off for 16 years now.
Yeah, it is amazing to see. I remember when Eli Manning was drafted. It's about the end when I was finishing up my scouting career, and then now he's, we're looking to the end of his career as well. But yeah, I feel like, though, that Daniel Jones is the future of the New York Giants. And all you have to do is watch the tape and watch him play in the preseason, and you understand how special he could be for the Giants. I mean, he's kind of a carbon copy of Eli when you look at how he physically is built, the tall, lanky, long type of quarterback. But yeah, Eli Manning has had a heck of a run. It's just, the Giants just haven't done a good enough job of like the latter part of his career. They've had so much turmoil with the wide receivers, the offensive line. It's been a problem for him to kind of finish out his career this way because he really didn't have a whole heck of a lot of help there at the end.
Losing record against the Cowboys. I hope no Cowboys fans get mad at me, but he is very respected in New York. So how do you handle? Is this one of those situations like he has a bad game and then you make the switch?
No. If you talk to people with the Giants, when they get
they respect him more than
absolutely. But it's funny because they were in a situation where he had this long streak going of starting games and then got yanked for a backup.
That.
Yeah, and it was incredible that they allowed him to just get pulled like that. And then the next week he's back to starting, and it just was a mess up there. He's had to deal with a lot of things. But yeah, this is one of those teams that, again, that the Giants are committed to him at least until they get eliminated. And then I think that's where you'll see Daniel Jones.
Okay, There you go, right there, taking the field at AT&T Stadium, possibly for the last time in his career. Let's hear more from Eli Manning earlier this week as he is facing the Cowboys.
Yeah, they got a number of good players. I think they play very fast. It's a fast defense. They run to the ball. They're very disciplined in their assignments and in their technique, and so we just have to be it's a team. They got good players all around, and so we just got to know their scheme, have answers for their certain looks, and just execute our game plan.
With your confidence in this O-line and just getting to finally see Saquon in a real game again, what is there a level of excitement for you to see what this offense can do?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always an excitement for the first game and for the guys we have, and I think you get that excitement from the way we've practiced, the way we've played in some preseason games and executed, and so I think we just got to be kind of humble enough to prepare this week and have a great week of practice and knowing your opponent and just confident enough to go out there and perform on Sunday.
How important is it for you guys to get off to a good start this season?
Hey, you always want to get off to a good start, and that's always the goal. So it's just, right now we just got to focus on our game plan, on the Cowboys, on what they're doing, and what we need to do to go out there and play well. I mean, I think you go into every game with the same mentality. It is obviously in the division, and so I think those division games, mean a little bit extra just because you play them twice every year, and they just mean more. In terms of winning your division is the kind of the only way they can guarantee you into the playoffs. So they kind of a little extra. They made a little bit more. Throw in that we always seem to play them. Most years the first game of the season. That first game is always important just because that's the first one. And so I think there's a lot of special memories in playing the Cowboys.
Realistically, what are you expecting from Eli performance-wise today?
Well, they could tell you, the Giants people will tell you, oh, well, he's looked really good in training camp. He's looked good in practice. And, but there's still the factor of if he gets protection or not.
That's what it comes down to.
Because it's always, he can light you up. There's no question he could do that. I don't know if he has the receivers to light you up, but he's got a tight end and he's got a back that can light you up. But with him, it's all about pressure. If you get Eli Manning's eye level down, and he starts looking at the rush, he has problems. And that's the plan today. Get his eye level down and make him focus on that rush and maybe turn the ball over to in the pocket.
All right, 16 years of Eli Manning, 1 year starting now for Kellen Moore as he goes into being the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, Brian. And I love what Jerry Jones said to us, kind of off the record a little bit, but he said, I love that Kellen Moore has no experience at this. Yeah. He's just going to run in here and we'll see what he has. And that's got to be a great feeling for the Cowboys knowing that he's been around, though. He's been around. He knows the players.
He does. And, and the lack of experience is really, I don't think that's going to be a huge factor in this game. I think what's going to, I think it's going to help the Cowboys because the Giants, I said this earlier, do not have an idea about what Kellen Moore is going to do scheme-wise. Now, they feel like, we got to stop Dak Prescott. We got to stop Ezekiel Elliott. We got to stop Amari Cooper. But how do we stop the coordinator? That's the big issue that they're dealing with right now.
All right. How different will it be, Brian? Everybody's been talking about this. Well, is it going to look a lot differently? Is it not? Is it the same as it was before with Tony Pollard mixed in? What are you thinking?
Good offensive coordinators steal from other offensive coordinators. It's a bunch of thieves that work in the National Football League. If you see a good play or two or three good plays, hey, screen package here, draw package here, whatever you could do to steal a play or two and incorporate. I think Kellen Moore's prepared for this opportunity. I think he's got an outstanding football mind. I think he sees the field very, very well. If you look at what the Cowboys have done in the past, or what I've seen these 30 practices, it's been about route combinations. It's been about outs and vertical routes and inside routes. All combinations to create space inside for Dak Prescott. So it's not just, okay, we're going to run the slant, okay, we're going to run the vertical 9. You're running routes, combinations of routes to get space and to get open, putting pressure on defense. I think you're going to see them stay in a lot of the same personnel group, maybe 11 personnel, run 4, 5, 6 plays out of that. You won't see them just keep changing personnel like we did under Scott Linehan. This is the thing that you take from the Saints, and this is where you take from the Los Angeles Rams. Bunch formation, scatter, make these defenders have to deal with that. Again, I think you're going to see Kellen Moore make them the Giants defend the field horizontally and then also vertically. He's going to make these guys run to have to cover him today.
All right, let's hear what Kellen Moore thinks about going into Week 1 with the Cowboys as the offensive coordinator.
Does this week feel any different for you? Not too much. I think we've done some trial runs essentially through the preseason, and so you feel pretty comfortable with this. And obviously, haven't been here last year. You're kind of used to the routine. You know what to expect.
Yeah, but you haven't been in charge of it before.
Yeah, you talk a little bit more. And other than that, it's fine. It's football. We're good.
What were some of the questions you had about how you wanted to do this that you worked your way through in the preseason?
Yeah, I think just going through the process, going through game day. Game day is different, making those decisions, making sure you communicate well, communicate with the rest of the coaching staff, the players. I think so much of it's really just the communication and kind of getting a feel for that stuff.
Now that you are the primary offensive coordinator, there's a level of visibility with that. The fact that you played, the fact that you have a high visible college career, does that make this adjustment any easier, or does this feel totally different?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe so. I don't think it feels like a weird new thing by any means. Done the player thing, done the coaching thing now a little bit, so we're good.
It seems like you've been downplaying this thing all offseason. Is that important to you to make sure that you're not making this too big going into this game?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been around it for a little while as a player, and then popped over to coaching last year, and so now obviously fortunate to have this opportunity. But I'm just a small little piece of this big aspect. So
did you get butterflies when you played before a big game?
I think you get a little bit naturally. I think everyone does. I think that's natural. I think probably making play calls and having to make those decisions, fairly quickly. Naturally, you're gonna have that. But I think it's similar.
All right, let's bring Danny Sarek back in. Danny, obviously a big talk for the Cowboys is their red zone attack, and I know you spent a lot of time with someone this week who hopes to be part of that.
I did. I spent time with someone this week who had a pretty good game against the Giants last year. Only 14 Dallas Cowboys have ever had 3 touchdowns in a single game. In December of 2018 against the Giants, tight end Blake Jarwin accomplished that feat as only the second tight end in Cowboys history to do so, joining Billy Joe Dupree. Jarwin says that success gave him the validation he needed early on in his career.
Deep into the end zone, caught, touchdown, it's Blake Jarwin.
I think I gained a lot of confidence that game, just having that trust from Dak that I'll be in the right spot at the right time. So, and I think even from there we've come a long way as teammates, and our chemistry's growing together. So it's been awesome. I'm excited to build on that, and especially having 82 back in the room, it's going to help me a lot.
Jarwin's 3 touchdowns were the first of his career. He says he's honing in on that success ahead of facing the Giants in Week 1.
You just got to keep thinking, move forward. Don't ever get stuck in the good and the bad of the past. You got to keep moving forward. Obviously, you want to build on the stuff and learn from your mistakes, but that's just another building block to my foundation. So, like I said, it was awesome, but I'm excited for the next one.
Streaking in, the touchdown machine. Blake Jarwin takes it 39 yards. Okay, Witten, I'm coming for you.
No, he's past him. He's past him.
One major offensive change playing the Giants this time around is the return of tight end Jason Witten, an 11-time Pro Bowler with 15 years of experience, who also happens to be the player Jarwin grew up idolizing in the NFL.
He's been amazing. Just to have that experience that he has, you can't ever get that from another player, so I'm trying to take in as much as I can. 15 years of experience, and no matter if it's in the film room, he kind of has us go back over something, ask us questions about it, or if it's on the field, the last play we just went over, he's always interactive with us. We're excited to have him for the year.
Jarwin says Witten's return does not add any pressure to his own game, fighting for playing time. It only brings motivation.
I mean, as a competitor, you got to love it to have a guy like that who's been in the league for so long and can still, step by step take anybody on. So to have that in the room, you learn so much from his off-the-field approach as well as on the field. Everybody wants to play, so to have that guy in the room where we can learn from him and push him to be better and push ourselves to be better, I think it's incredible for us, especially being young tight ends.
Jarwin grew up idolizing Witten as a kid in the NFL. So when I was talking to Jarwin, I asked him, do you ever bring up the fact to Witten that you have 3 touchdowns in a game and Witten does it? And Jarwin immediately laughed and put his head down. He goes, no, he has way more accomplishments than I do. I'm just keeping my head down and focusing on the game. This game is the first time Jarwin and Witten will actually be suiting up together. In 2017, Jarwin's rookie year, he was on the practice squad. Of course, in 2018, Jason Witten was on his football hiatus as a sports broadcaster. So this is the first time the two of them will actually be playing on the same game together.
And, I mean, it seems like they're just thankful to have Witten back in the locker room because he can do so much for them and teach them when he's there.
It's It's exactly what Jarwin was saying when I was talking to him, is that, of course, Witten brings all this experience and this greatness when he's on the field, and he does that off the field as well, in practice when they're going through different routes, and then also in the film room when they're studying. Jarwin was saying that Witten really communicates with them about, here you could go this way, and talking about defenders they're going to be facing, and he's just as valuable in that study room.
Great stuff, as always, Danny. We'll have you back in a few, but Blake Jarwin, the Jason Witten mixing back together. Brian, Jason Garrett told me when I asked him about it, it's possible. You can put 2 tight ends at once. We're still going to make this work, but do you think Witten plays as much as he used to?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think that Jason Witten has come in here with a different attitude about what he needs to do. I think Jason Witten wants to be one of the guys. I really do. Now, where they're going to be grateful they have him back is in the red zone, and then also some of those third down plays underneath. It's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. Jason Witten has a great feel for how to separate, how to get open, and then find a way to catch the football, get what he can. So, yeah, but I feel like, though, that when they want to open things up and they want to get down the field, you'll see Blake Jarwin on the field. Also, you'll see, get ready for Schultz, too, to get some opportunity as well. He could play down the field as well.
All right, that is just a great group right there, because you have Witten and then you have the 2 really young guys who told me this week they spend most of their time gaming. So I don't know Minecraft or something? I don't know. Let's hear, though, from the GOAT, the Gold Jacket Witt, going into his 16th season after his 1-year hiatus from the NFL.
Been away for a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. How excited are you ready to get back out?
Oh, I'm really excited. I feel better about that decision today than I did when I made it back in March. And the reason for that is because I know that I'm ready. And I think that's where the excitement comes in, from me knowing that I know. You go out there, let it rip, and find ways to beat the Giants. And in doing that, you move the chains. That's what I'm here for. And so it's really exciting. When I made that decision to come back, I was thinking about these moments, and so that work to get back there, it was focused on this time of year, but I think when you talk about return, it's get into this locker room, get in here with these guys. I mean, the real returns, guys like Travis Frederick, that went through what they did, and it's remarkable the mental fortitude he had to kind of battle back and become the player that he is, so a lot of work went into that. I'm really excited. I mean, you make that decision a year ago and get an opportunity with one of the top TV jobs, and all along, I think back in somewhere deep in my gut and my soul, it was like, man, I still have something to get, and it's a great opportunity. I feel like it's a ripe opportunity. Yeah, I think, you make those decisions and you live with the results, I mean, you go back and you play it back in your head, and I said it before, but you try to make the best decision in real time. And once you do that, you got to move forward, and so my focus is just on a new challenge, different challenge, and it wasn't until the season ended. But yeah, it's hard, I mean, it's hard watching the game when you feel like you can give something. Certainly hard watching your teammates go out there and play, and but just opportunity presented itself, and I'm thankful for that, and I feel like you got something to prove, because I mean, at this point it doesn't always happen that way, and I've been pleased with what we've been able to do.
All right, things are heating up out there at AT&T Stadium. What do you say, Brian? We send it back to the guys, who are joined now by Stephen Jones.
Thanks again, Lindsay. And this time we are joined by Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. And the offseason's always the same length, but this one seems longer than the rest. How happy are you that we're finally here about to play some football?
Well, I am fired up. Hats off to Jason and his coaching staff. Done a great job of getting this team prepared, in spite of a few little distractions, when it came to people's business. But,
little distractions.
But and overall, I think our team handled it great. Obviously, Zeke's back in here smiling and ready to play. And, I just can't wait to see these guys. I was just in the locker room, said that these guys remind me of a horse in a starting gate. They're ready to play some real football, and they got their focus, and they're ready to go. And I feel as good about this team as any I've felt about in a long time, and I know they feel good about one another. we got each other's back and ready to roll, and I think it's going to be an exciting season for our fans.
It's nice to ask you a football question about Zeke Elliott, to your point, because a lot of talk about his business and the contract. We saw him warming up, look good a few minutes ago. What did you see from him throughout the week leading up to today, and how do you think his role could be today?
Well, I was so impressed. Hats off to him how he came back in terms of being in shape. It's so difficult to be in competitive shape when you're not with your teammates and you don't have the professional training that we have with Mike Woysick, Brett Besh, and that crew. But without actually being with the team and, football shape practicing every day, thought he was outstanding, and certainly is going to be able to help us today in a big way. And I think he's going to get plenty of carries.
Jason Garrett always talks about how tough it is to make the 53-man roster. It seems pretty tough to be on the 46 as well. You've got a first-round pick a few years ago, Taco Charlton, and a second-round pick, Tristan Hill. Just healthy scratches. What does that mean for how deep your defensive line is?
I think it says a lot. As I told you, this is probably one of the deeper football teams that I've been around, in the cap era. And so it's very competitive out there. A lot of this was based on need and having position flex in terms of guys being able to play multiple positions. And, a guy like Tristan's going to learn a lot. You're trying to mold him into the guy we want him to be. And I know Taco's had a great preseason, but, the position flex there with Joe Jackson was important to us today. And certainly when you're bringing guys into playing football for the first time since last year, and D-Law and Ty Crawford, it was important to have that.
On the offensive side of the ball, what did you see from Dak Prescott through camp and preseason where you feel like he's primed for maybe his best season yet?
Yeah, I mean, Dak's the ultimate pro. I've never seen anyone with such an insatiable appetite to want to be great. He's got the it factor. He's got all the leadership skills. He's gotten better every day in practice. I know our team has a tremendous amount of confidence in him, both sides of the ball, to lead this team. And I feel like as good as he's done in the first 3 years, I think he's ready for a bigger and better year this year.
I don't think we can let you go without at least asking about, you've said open for business all off season, Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott. Is there any changes at all and where things stand with that? I know there seemed like there was some momentum going with Dak. Anything that you can talk about there?
Yeah, I think there's momentum. I mean, we obviously want to take care of Dak. He's our future. He's our quarterback for the future. And, we're just, this business has gotten really big in terms of what these contracts represent. His people, Dak, want to get it right. We want to get it right. And feel like at some point here, as long as they're willing to keep working, into the season, we're certainly willing to. And same holds true for Amari. He's got a great group, and at some point we want to get that deal done too.
Well, I saw you in the pregame there. You said the players were like those horses getting ready to go. You seem like you're right there as well.
Well, everybody is in this organization. We've been, so fired up about getting to see this team healthy, all together, all ready to go. And, for the most part, other than not having Quinn out here for the first couple of games, we've got everybody healthy and ready to go. So it's going to be exciting to see how they play together. And I think we're going to like the results.
All right, I think I heard 2 or 3 ready to go. Stephen Jones is ready to go. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam.
Back to you.
Great stuff as always, guys. Let's check in now with Danny Sarek and Brian Broaddus, who have our players to watch from both the Cowboys and the Giants.
Thanks, Lindsay. I'm with Brian Broaddus. And Brian, we know that the Cowboys' #1 receiver is going to be Amari Cooper. However, there are a lot of other really talented receivers who had a really great offseason. Who are you keeping your eye on for the wideouts for the Cowboys?
Well, first off, welcome to my little film world. It's nice.
I'm excited to be here.
Good to have you here. Yeah, okay. When we talk all summer long, we talked about Amari Cooper, and you mentioned it. There's some other very talented receivers here. And the one I want to focus on today is Michael Gallup. And, Michael Gallup's down here, and he's going to draw coverage away from others. And I'm serious about this. I believe that when you talk about Gallup, teams know what Michael Gallup can do, especially making receptions down the field. We're going to see in this thing, Danny, we're going to see, safeties. We're going to see linebackers. We're going to see people that are looking for Michael Gallup and how he's going to play, because not only can Michael Gallup play down the field, but he plays all inside right there. So very talented receiver, not just a one-trick pony getting down the field, though, but he's going to command some attention which will help some of these other Cowboy receivers.
Last year, Michael Gallup only had 2 touchdowns in the regular season. With his offseason work with quarterback Dak Prescott, they've been saying they feel they have more chemistry. How is he going to stand out this year as opposed to last year as a rookie?
Yeah, that's I think where he's improved so much, and that's what it is. He's gone from a rookie to a second-year player now. And I'm going to give you an example right here. This is from the preseason game this year against the Rams when we were in Hawaii. And what I want to do is, here he is dealing with press coverage, and I'm going to show you how he's improved. You know, that press coverage, playing very tight. The old Michael Gallup wouldn't win off the line. He would struggle. He would lose his balance. He wouldn't have the strength. But watch what happens here when I run this play for you forward right here. See him? See that quick little move off the line? Just that shuddering of the shoulders right there gets him. Now I'm going to stop it right here, okay? When we look at this, Dak Prescott, Danny, he's still eyes in the pocket, still down the field right there, still trying to make a look. He's not open yet. That's the thing with Michael Gallup. He's not open yet. Even though he made that little move off, got himself a little separation, but now he's back to being covered. Okay, watch what happens here. All right, stopped it right there. Now we're starting to see ball in the air, Danny, right there, out of his hand. Now we're starting to see a little separation. But the thing that Gallup has done differently, and he's really good at, is tracking the football going down the field. So as we're running forward here for you a little bit, look at that. Look at the separation, going up and getting the ball right there. Nice job by Michael Gallup going up and getting it. Look at that right there, Danny, that high pointing the football. That's what you got to do. Separation, go get the football, make the big play.
So Michael Gallup is your Cowboy to watch for. However, we also have to talk about our opponent, someone on the New York Giants. Brian, I know that your player to watch is going to be linebacker Marcus Golden, who spent 2015 through 2018 with the Cardinals. And I know your primary reason for him to be your player to watch is he's an alum of the greatest university, the University of Missouri. However, what is your second reason for why he's your player to watch today?
I knew you were going to somehow work that in. We're going to look at Marcus Golden here. And, you know, when you talk about the Giants, have much of a pass rush. And that's, you know, the Giants have had a great history of having pass rush, but they don't. They don't have the Jason Pierre-Pauls. They don't have the Michael Strahans. But yeah, you're right. Your Mizzou alum, Marcus Golden, is right there. And so, but what they'll do, Danny, is they'll move him to both sides. So you'll see him over here, but more than likely, you'll see him over here against Lyle Collins. So
what will be the hardest part for the Cowboys to combat the disruptiveness and the intensity that Golden can bring to that defensive line?
Yeah, this is where I think that he could be the one man that could cause problems, okay? Because I'm going to run you a play. I feel like, though, if they don't control him, then there's going to be no reason for them to blitz. Now, I think they're going to have to blitz. I think this is part of their game plan today, is that they're going to have to rush. But I'm going to show you Golden, though. He has the capability of winning one-on-one. Again, point him out right here for you, though. He's going to come screaming off that edge right there. And again, whether this is a tight end or a tackle over here, they have to account for him coming off the edge. So here we go. I'm going to run it for you forward right here. See, he can either play that two-point stance, standing up, or he can put his hand on the ground in this case. Look at this. Look at the power. Look at that power right there, Danny. Look at the power. Look at the hands that he's able to see. His hands get inside, knock the blocker off balance, boom. Look at the close right there that he has. See, this is the problem that Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith, Jason Witten, all these guys will have to deal with this guy because he has that good first punch right there. Good job of the hands. Good job of finishing, too.
So our two players we're going to watch for Dallas Cowboys are going to be wide receiver Michael Gallup, and then also on the Giants side, linebacker Marcus Golden. Lindsay?
Yes, and as we continue to talk about the Giants, you see the Cowboys getting excited right there, the linebacker crew at AT&T Stadium. We are also going to hear now from Janoris Jenkins, who is prepared to be with Amari Cooper today, no matter what.
What's the biggest challenge in facing a guy like Amari Cooper?
Just doing my job. Make sure I'm focused and locked in, and make plays.
How different are they with him? I know the first time you guys played him last year, he wasn't there, but the second time he was there.
I mean, you just put him in their spot. If you look at it as I do my scouting report, I just put him in their spot.
Are they similar, do you think? Or?
Yeah, they the same. Not as ability, but like formations. I'm not worrying about no one-on-one guy. I'm worrying about, team defense, everybody playing together, swimming to the ball, and I'm just going to do my job.
How do you feel about the other cornerback spot? Might be another young guy. How much confidence do you have they'll be able to get that job done?
Whoever they put out there, they're going to be ready. They prepared well. I'm just ready to see them play. Whoever it may be, we don't know, so got to see.
With so many young guys, whether it's Baker or Valentine, would you like to shadow the other team's best receiver, whether it's Cooper or whoever down the road? Would you like to shadow him, or do you prefer boundary, field, left, right?
I like to shadow. If you go back to when I came in the league, I've been doing that since I came in here. Came into the NFL, but whatever they have me doing, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna accept my job.
Somebody like you gets up for that challenge of a mano, best guy versus best guy?
I stay ready.
So who do we think has the advantage here with Amari Cooper? We've talked about he's had the heel soreness. Who do we think has the advantage in this matchup?
I think that Amari Cooper has the advantage, or Michael Gallup. It doesn't matter, either one, because I tell you what, Janoris Jenkins, I love his attitude, the way he talks about things, but he's a gambler. He is a gambler, and they're going to take advantage of his. He's always been a gambler throughout his career, so keep an eye on those double moves. Keep the eye on the stutter go. Keep the eye on the sluggo, the slant and go, those types of routes, because he will jump routes in a hurry. He's a guy that will play at a little depth, and then all of a sudden he'll break on the football. So people have taken advantage of him throughout his career. I see why. I know why he wants to play against somebody, because he wants to just trail so he can kind of get a feel for how that guy's playing him.
Amari Cooper is one of the best route runners in the league. I mean, it's hard to say if Jenkins is just going to be paired up with Cooper, but if I have to bet at this point, I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. He was telling us ever since he was missing practice with this heel soreness, the plantar fasciitis, he dealt with this in college, he dealt with this in Oakland. To me, I'm not worried at all about Amari Cooper and what he can do on the field.
Yeah, because he has maybe the best double move in the league. What about Brett Maher? This is kind of getting swept under the rug a little bit, but are you guys concerned of the inconsistencies, of the right hash problems that we're seeing? It's just something about that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's hard to be 100% confident in your kicker at all times realistically. So am I a little hesitant maybe when I see Maher go onto the field? Yes. Am I more confident when he's further away? Yes. This is just a hard position mentally. I think it's not just Maher, but I think when you have inconsistencies, teams and fans, of course, really start to lose confidence in your kicker. So this is definitely someone I will be keeping my eye on, because you want to get off to a great start in the season, because you don't want to mentally start doubting yourself and your abilities.
Brian, was it you who said that we all got a little too spoiled around here with Dan Bailey?
Oh, I think we all did. And I'll tell you what, when you have a kicker, like Danny says, that the confidence level, it's going to be on Kellen Moore now when we start talking about red zone offense. If you can't make a 35-yard field goal or a 38-yard field goal, and there's questions about that, that's rough on your team. That's the thing with Dan Bailey, like we were talking about. Anywhere they were on the field, you knew Dan Bailey was going to go find a way to get those 3 points. I remember coaches talking about they'd go over and start making adjustments knowing that they were going to get 3 points, be ready to go. But now it's a little bit of a shaky situation. He has kicked better. The last week in Oxnard, he was better. We've seen some work around here that he hasn't missed some kicks. So we'll see. This is going to be one of those things, the unknown of a first game of the NFL season.
Dak Prescott going back to the sleeves for good, folks. He's got the sleeves under the jersey.
He was 7-1, was he, with those sleeves on?
7-1 last year at home at AT&T Stadium.
Right.
Cowboys swept the Giants. Let's get a look now at Eagles-Redskins. Give me a score on this. I know it was a really odd start. The Eagles were not looking as strong as they did last year.
Yeah.
Redskins came out. Case Keenum time.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that's not surprising in a way. Yeah, the Redskins were up 17-0, and then now the Eagles have managed to rally back. The Eagles, on paper, the roster, player for player, are better than what the Washington Redskins are. If you just look at quarterback for quarterback, that's all you need to say right there.
All right, guys, let's talk your key to the game. Brian, we've talked about it all week. Danny, I want to hear yours as well. Key to the game to get a win over the Giants and start off 1-0 in the division.
Key to the game for me, key to this season really, is just a difference in productivity in the red zone. We had talked about it earlier in the pregame that this was an area they really struggled with last year, and so I like to see what offensive coordinator Kellen Moore brings to the table. They have Ezekiel Elliott now to run the ball. We know they're going to use quarterback Dak Prescott to run, and it's got to be a little insurance to know that you have tight end Jason Witten back in that end zone. So for me today, I'm going to see what the Cowboys do in the red zone.
Got to tackle well today, guys. That is going to be the key, and that's the problem with a lot of these early games is that the tackling, the starters have not played a lot of preseason snaps. They don't work on tackling so much in the practice as is. So, getting guys to the ground. How well they get bodies to the ball and get Saquon Barkley down on the ground. If they can limit the touches he has, productive touches, they can go after Eli Manning in this game. I think how well they tackle will tell you exactly how well they're going to play defense today.
All right, guys, great stuff. As always here on Dallas Cowboys Pregame Live, we are excited to have Danny with us here all season long, and the Cowboys are getting closer and closer to kickoff. We will be back with a halftime update, as always, along with postgame coverage as well. We will leave you with the 2019 hype video. Get ready to run through a wall when you see this and when you get your eyeballs on it. Hope you guys enjoy the game.
This thing is as good as it's been since '95 when we won the last one. We had some good ones in '07 and all those years. We had some good years, but not like this.
The road to greatness is often the road less traveled. Many begin the journey, but few ever feel the glory.
This Dallas Cowboys team is the most talented team that they had since the triplets of the early 90s. This is the team that Jerry Jones have been building. They've been building this monster for years now.
I think this is the most exciting Cowboys season opening in 20 years. I mean, going back to the 90s, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be good.
But we know where we're going because we've been there before.
There is no substitute for winning. I know that's a cliche, but we must win. We will win. Win is the name of the game.
How about that, Cowboys?
It's in our DNA. So with an unrelenting spirit, we keep that same focus.
Hit him, they sack him again. They're coming so much, but the crazy thing is we got so much more to do, man.
The past is the past, but for us, our history starts now.
My goal is bigger than just one platform. Me and this whole team, we want to win it all.
Everything we want is for the taking. All we have to do is go get it.
Hey, we got one opportunity. We got one goal. We got one goal. We got one goal. Let's show these what we got right now.
The Dallas Cowboys pregame show, live from the Star in Frisco, was brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. SWBC Mortgage, financial solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit swbc.com. And by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. Want to tour AT&T Stadium? For more information, call 817-892-TOUR or visit dallascowboys.com/tours.